The morning Ethan Walker saw his ex-wife sitting on a cold pavement with her hands trembling and her clothes covered in dust, the world around him seemed to slow to a stop. He had been rushing to deliver a package before picking up his son from school, but the moment he recognized the familiar curve of her shoulders and the way she hid her face from the passing crowd, something inside him shattered. It wasn't just shock. It was a punch of memories, of years once shared, of promises once believed in, and of a woman he thought he would never see again except in the rearview mirror of his past. Yet here she was, the mother of his child, begging for change on a busy street like a ghost who never found peace. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything. Ethan stood frozen for a few seconds, clutching the small cardboard package to his chest as cars honked and strangers brushed past him. The city noise blurred. All he could hear was the faint rattle of coins in a metal cup in front of her. His mind raced back to the years when Sarah used to wear soft sweaters, when her hair was always neatly tied, and her laugh filled their tiny living room. She was once warm, artistic, and full of dreams. But life had a way of turning bright colors dark, and their marriage had collapsed under the weight of repeated arguments, financial stress, and her growing struggle with the wrong crowd. When she disappeared 5 years ago, leaving only a short note and a freshly signed divorce paper, he had been angry, but he had also mourned her like a loss. Seeing her now, thin, exhausted, and afraid to raise her head, he felt an ache he couldn't name. Ethan forced himself to walk toward her, each step heavy. He wondered if she would even recognize him. He wondered if she wanted to be found. His throat tightened when he noticed how she kept avoiding eye contact with people, ashamed, shrinking, and defeated. When he finally stood in front of her, she hesitated to look up, as if expecting another stranger to ignore her or toss a coin out of pity. And when her eyes finally lifted and met his, they widened with horror, guilt, and something that hurt him more than anything, fear. She whispered his name so softly he barely heard it. That moment cracked something inside him. She wasn't the woman who left. She wasn't the woman who hurt him. She was someone broken, drowning, and alone. And she was still the mother of his boy. Ethan didn't ask what happened there on the street. Not yet. He simply knelt beside her, ignoring the curious glances from pedestrians. He helped her stand, guided her gently to his car, and drove her home. She hesitated the entire way, as though she didn't believe she was allowed to accept help. At home, his son Noah had just returned from school, and the look on the boy's face when he saw his mother for the first time in years was a mixture of confusion, sorrow, and longing. Ethan watched quietly as Noah tried to approach her, unsure, his 12-year-old voice trembling as he spoke her name. Sarah broke down then, sobbing in a way that made Ethan step out of the room because it hurt too much to hear. For hours afterward, her story came out in fragments. Life after the divorce had spiraled fast. She had fallen into a relationship with a man who turned abusive, taken control of her finances, isolated her from the world, and eventually abandoned her without a penny. She had no family left to turn to, no friends who hadn't already lost contact, and no strength to ask for help until her body finally gave up. Sleeping on streets had become her last resort. Ethan listened silently, letting her speak without judgment. Every word she said twisted him inside. He had moved on, built a stable life for himself and his son, worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. He had dealt with the pain she left behind, but he never wished for her destruction. Hearing what she went through brought an unexpected heaviness to his heart, a heaviness not of anger, but of sorrow. He knew he couldn't let her go back to the streets. Not when she was clearly fragile, malnourished, and mentally exhausted. So he offered her the guest room temporarily, a warm shower, clean clothes, and a chance to recover. She resisted at first, saying she didn't deserve kindness from him after vanishing without a word, but he insisted, not for their past's sake, but for Noah's. Their son deserved to see compassion. Days passed, and slowly Sarah began to regain color and strength. She helped around the house quietly, cooked simple meals, and kept her distance from Ethan, almost as if she feared she might disrupt the fragile calm of his life. Noah gravitated toward her with cautious hope, visiting her room with sketches of superheroes or asking her to help him with school projects. Their bond, once severed, began to stitch itself back together in small, beautiful moments. Ethan watched it all from the sidelines, fighting a swirl of emotions he didn't know how to handle. There were evenings when he saw Sarah sitting near the window, tears silently slipping down her face as she stared at the streetlights. She apologized often, too often, until he gently asked her to stop. Apologies couldn't rewrite the past, and holding on to guilt would only keep her trapped. But there were scars that went deeper than silence, both in her and in him. One night he found her having a panic attack on the kitchen floor, shaking uncontrollably. It broke him to see her so fragile, so afraid. He sat beside her, letting her breathe slowly, reassuring her that she was safe. And in that moment, something inside him softened, not romantic love, not the desire to rekindle what was gone, but a deep, human compassion. A recognition that everyone breaks, everyone falls, and sometimes all a person needs is someone who doesn't turn away. As weeks went by, Sarah gradually regained her footing. She signed up for free counseling, started searching for jobs, and began rebuilding her confidence. Ethan supported her quietly, not trying to control her choices, simply making sure she knew she wasn't alone. And as she grew stronger, he watched Noah grow happier too, finally understanding that losing a parent didn't always mean forever. But the moment that truly broke Ethan came unexpectedly one evening. He found a small